Breaking news this hour on RT International. An explosion at a coal mine in eastern Ukraine leaves dozens trapped underground, with one miner confirmed to be killed and at least 14 injured. The Israeli leader delivers a passionate speech to scare the U.S. Congress out of dealing with Tehran, but his message causes anger deep in the corridors of power. Australians challenge lawmakers seeking more surveillance powers, with the Attorney General receiving thousands of messages directly to his phone from people against a data storage law. Your worldwide news, live from Moscow. This is RT International with me, Rory Souchet. Welcome to the program. Straight to our breaking news for you this hour. There's been a powerful explosion at a mine in eastern Ukraine. Dozens of workers are trapped underground. Earlier today, the parliament speaker in Kiev said 32 miners had been killed, but authorities in eastern Ukraine have not confirmed these reports. So far, only one person confirmed dead, at least 14 wounded. And our correspondent Murat Gazdiev is at the mine and will be joining him very shortly for the latest on this breaking news. Now, to give you some old facts here, the Zasyatko mine is one of the biggest in Ukraine. It has seen 8 fatal incidents over just the past 16 years. The deadliest was 8 years ago, when 101 miners were killed in an explosion. For now, the Israeli Prime Minister gave a passionate speech to the U.S. Congress, most of it attacking Iran and a possible deal over its nuclear program, though Benjamin Netanyahu not mincing his words.
We must all stand together to stop Iran's march of conquest, subjugation, and terror. Iran and ISIS are competing for the crown of militant Islam. One calls itself the Islamic Republic. The other calls itself the Islamic State. This regime will always be an enemy of America.
The speech was met with a standing ovation inside Congress, but in reality, many lawmakers were far from happy. 57 senators, mostly Democrats, chose to boycott the controversial address. Among those to snub the speech, even the American President Barack Obama himself.
On the core issue, the Prime Minister didn't offer any viable alternatives.
Frankly, I came away from the speech disappointed. Why would a friend of America act this way towards the president?
Indeed, it was political theater, worthy of an Oscar.
And had not one word about what he would do any differently. He's lecturing us about how we ought to conduct ourselves in the future.
At the time Netanyahu was addressing Congress, the U.S. Secretary of State was busy meeting his Iranian counterpart for further talks on the nuclear issue. The negotiations have to meet a late March deadline for Iran to agree on cuts to its nuclear program in exchange for the lifting of sanctions. RT's Gaine Chichikan now with more on Netanyahu's grand visit to Washington.
Benjamin Netanyahu made it clear he doesn't want the U.S. and the international community to make any deals with Iran except one that would dismantle all of Iran's nuclear science. The deal that is being negotiated right now would allow Iran to pursue nuclear technologies for peaceful purposes and would envision vigorous inspections to ensure that. Needless to say that the speech was not received well by the Obama administration, which has spent months negotiating this deal. What the administration is saying that the government of Benjamin Netanyahu is trying to undermine this deal without suggesting anything better. Never has the Israeli Prime Minister been so unwelcome in Washington as he is now. Netanyahu bypassed President Obama to speak before Congress. He's doing it for the 3rd time. No other foreign leader except Winston Churchill has done that, but never has a foreign leader gone behind the president's back to do that. There were still quite a few standing ovations throughout the Israeli Prime Minister's speech, as there were before, but the whole context of his visit suggests that the support for him is nothing like it used to be. Reporting from Congress, I'm Ganesh Chekyan, RT.
Ahead of Netanyahu's address to American lawmakers, dozens of protesters gathered outside the U.S. Capitol building. The demonstrators demanding the U.S. cut aid and support to Israel. But former diplomat Hillary Mann-Leverett, who used to negotiate with Iran, she thinks the Israeli Prime Minister's speech may actually force Obama into closer ties with Iran.
It certainly is a shot across the bow for the Obama administration. It will, I think, make things more difficult for the Obama administration here domestically in the United States, but it has the potential to accelerate movement on negotiations with Iran because Prime Minister Netanyahu has really backed President Obama into a corner. He has no place to go. President Obama can't just wake up tomorrow and say, oh, I didn't realize that Iran was part of the evil Islamist conspiracy that Prime Minister Netanyahu outlined before Congress. Now that I know that, I'm no longer going to negotiate with Iran for a diplomatic agreement. So it really puts President Obama in a corner and I think potentially accelerates progress on negotiations with Iran.
Back to our breaking news.